I've always considered myself very lucky to work for an issue that I care deeply about. So my work is my joy, is my passion. I don't have to do it after work. We are a statewide organization working mostly on the environmental issues around land use. So we're a little bit different than a lot of the organizations that come to this conference. We work on land use, transportation, farming issues, rather than a very broad suite of issues. We have a great responsibility and a great opportunity for real power to affect real meaningful change, literally on the ground in Maryland. Maryland has a fund called Program Open Space. It comes from 0.5% of every transfer of real estate in Maryland, and it funds open space preservation. It funds farmland preservation, parklands, urban playgrounds. And year after year, nobody really understood what this fund was, and it would get raided when anybody needed any funds for anything else. And in tough times, it really got hit hard. Um, but we decided to run a campaign with a very broad group of people to save program open space. And first we started with us just showing up at the hearings and being passionate. And we got the legislators to wring their hands and say, oh dear, we're sorry, but we're going to take your money. And then we got serious, and we formed a coalition called Partners for Open Space. It now has 155 members. We went to funders and said, if you really want us to be successful on keeping the funding to fund these important programs, you got to fund us at a real level, $200,000 for 2 years. We're going to mount a major campaign. And we did. And in the first year, we passed a bill that says you can't steal this money. And it, in effect, turned the money from a slush fund for the General Assembly into a loan program, because they could still borrow it from us, but they had to pay it back. But since then, Program Open Space has become one of the things that candidates say, I'm not going to touch K through 12 funding, I'm not going to touch teacher pensions, and I'm not going to touch Program Open Space. I get great ideas every year from here that are then put into action. I mean, really, real changes that really have helped my organization become more solid and more effective. And then in between the meetings, I use the listserv all the time. Hey, we're thinking about doing a strategic plan. Tell me what are good plans, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what do I need to know? We want to do a sabbatical policy. What's the best practices out there? So that I start things with a menu of options and opportunities. I start a new project knowing better about pitfalls, opportunities that if I was doing a cold start, it would take me 4 times as long and result in a poorer product. I really like the fact that part of this conference is to rejuvenate us. It's held in a nice place. There's a lot of time to really talk with each other, to learn casually as well as in the sessions, and to be in a beautiful part of the world. And that seemed to me, just from hearing about it, oh, this seems to make sense. This seems like a group that really gets what we need. And so I came sort of as an experiment one year, and have been coming ever since. Hazelnut, because it comes with chocolate most often.